Hello, everyone, and welcome to our webinar. We're so glad to have you joining us this afternoon, this morning, this evening, depending on where and what time zone you're in today. We are going to be talking a little bit about automating your engagement to cash workflow. And so on behalf of QuickFee, I would like to welcome all of you. I'm Sherry Dodgen, the VP of Marketing. Kathleen, who's head of our product, is also with me today. And then we've got some folks from Pease Bell also joining us, and we're going to talk a little bit about their experiences they've gone through automating some of their AR processes using QuickFee Connect. So one of the first things I do want to do is just take a minute and let everybody do a quick introduction. And so that way you kind of know a little bit about who all is with us today. And then they can share just their name, obviously what their role is, and then maybe how long you've been with Pease Bell. So Janine, I will start with you.
Hi, I'm Janine Hosta. I'm the billing supervisor, and I have been with Pease Bell for 25 years.
Oh, all right. So a good long time then. Brandon, what about you?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Brandon Wyand, and I am a billing coordinator, and I've been with Pease Bell for about a year.
Great. And then April.
Hi, my name is April Fink, and I am also a billing coordinator, and I've also been here for a year.
Great. And then Kathleen, obviously, is our head of product at QuickFee. Kathleen, anything else you want to add to your introduction?
Nope. Kathleen Grant. I am VP of Product here at QuickFee. I've been with QuickFee 3 years. And I've been in the industry.
Great. All right. Thanks, Kathleen. So just going to give everybody just a quick update on Pease Bell. So Pease Bell is one of our customers at QuickFee. They are a rapidly growing mid-sized accounting firm, and they have several different offices. They've got a little over 150 employees. They are part of CPA America. So we work with a lot of different associations, so very familiar with that one. And then they're also a recipient of the prestigious Best of the Best CPA Firms and Top 200 Firm Award from Inside Public Accounting. So congratulations and kudos to you guys on those. And then also they've been recognized as a best place to work for the last 14 years in their area as well. So we're excited to be talking with them today as we kind of dive in on a few different things that we're going to visit about. So we're really going to hear a lot about their experience as they really went about trying to automate and modernize some of those AR payment processes. And then we're also going to talk a little bit about how do you really streamline everything that's related to the client engagement activities. How can you collect faster on your accounts receivable? And how can you improve the client billing experience kind of from end to end? So, so as we go on to kind of get started, I'm going to set this up a little bit, just asking a couple of questions from you guys at Pease Bell. And so asking a little bit about kind of thinking back before you started down kind of this journey with QuickFee, but what were your AR processes, your payment processes like when you initially started looking at ways to modernize your payments and streamline your overall workflow? So some of the things you might think about are how long did it take to get invoices out, or how much time was spent chasing payments and sending out reminders, or how much time was spent manually entering payments back into your practice management solution. So Janine, as we kind of go in the Wayback Machine for a little bit, can you give us a little insight there?
Sure. Well, what we used to do was the old way. Basically, we just by getting the checks, and then we ended up doing accepting credit cards, and then we were like, well, this was taking really long because then we had a lot of AR back in the day. So then we're just like, well, what could we do to streamline it faster? So then we started looking into it, and then a lot of our partners went to the CPA America and was asking questions, asking the other CPA America firms on what they could do to streamline it faster. And they found that a lot of people were using QuickFee and stuff. So then that's when we started looking into you guys, and that's how we did it. So it was pretty good.
Yeah, I think that's one of the definite benefits of those associations, right? Like there is a lot of kind of peer-to-peer sharing of knowledge there, so where you can kind of get some different insights from folks as well. And so as you think about kind of the kind of what that process kind of looked like before, this is kind of a diagram that we've used when we talk about, that engagement to cash kind of workflow and like all of the different steps that are actually involved from the proposal being accepted and the client onboarding begins and then the engagement letter and all of that. So we've kind of documented over the years of talking with thousands and thousands of accounting firms, like there's lots of places where kind of it becomes a time suck, if you will, where, hours and hours of unbillable time is being spent with whether that's, the client invoicing or payment collection or payment reconciliation or following up on getting the engagement letter signed and all of that. So I'm sure this was kind of something that you guys were experiencing as well back kind of before you started down this road, Janine. So this probably looks similar to maybe what you guys would have said your kind of day-to-day, week-to-week was looking like, correct?
Mm-hmm. Correct. Yes.
So then, go ahead. Is there anything else you were going to add on that?
Oh, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, that's totally good. And so I think as we think then around, as you started going through and said, okay, so we realized we have some challenges and we realized there's some places we could be more efficient and use some tools to help with some of that. Were there some key objectives and requirements that were part of, whether you were part of that or it was a committee that was, being kind of tasked with picking that solution, but were there some key objectives and requirements that you guys were looking at for a solution that was going to help solve some of those challenges that you had?
Well, yes. Yeah, working for an accounting firm, they always have to have their checks and balances together. So, of course, the pricing. And then we did have, we did have experience with another vendor. So what we basically did was we were having some issues with another vendor. So we did want to look elsewhere. And then we knew that the system that we were working with and our billing system was going to be obsolete. So when we went to the new billing system, they did give us some options. And then so we, again, your QuickFee came in and they said, well, QuickFee, and there was another vendor. And so we did have QuickFee in the beginning. And then we went to this other vendor. And then when we started with the new system, they said QuickFee was capable of doing what we needed to do. So then we just came back to QuickFee. So, and we've been with QuickFee since.
Good. And so was part of that reason that you guys came back, you just felt like you'd had a good kind of the support and the client experience and all of that were things that you obviously were pleased with. And so that was one of the main reasons for coming back, or were there others?
Yes, everything we had with QuickFee in the beginning, we actually had a new department that came in and switched us with the vendor, and so we weren't involved with that. So that's why we had a new vendor. So that's what we switched. So when we got involved, we went back to QuickFee because we actually had a great experience with QuickFee in the beginning. So when we went back with you and we knew that this new system was going to be capable of doing what we needed it to do with QuickFee, that's why we came back with QuickFee, and we've always had great experience with QuickFee. So we just stayed. Then we were like, well, why don't we just go back with QuickFee? And we've been with you guys ever since, and we should have never left, in my opinion.
Well, welcome back to the family as always, and so we're glad to know that was the way that all worked out. So let's find out a little bit about kind of our audience today. So we've got several folks that are joining us today on the webinar. So we would like to know from you guys, what is your biggest challenge? So if you'll just take a minute, you'll see there on your screen that you can answer what is your biggest challenge. Is it high aging accounts receivable? Is it time spent on payment reminders? Is it restricted cash flow? Is it being not automated or streamlined, like there's too many tools or not enough easy options for your clients to choose for kind of paying? So if you guys could just take a minute, all of you that are on with us today, we've got a pretty large audience out there. So I'm going to give it just a few minutes while everybody has a chance to kind of submit their choice here. And that way we know a little bit more about maybe some of the challenges that folks in the audience are facing today as well. And then we can tailor some of the things that we're going to talk about and things that Kathleen will be showing here in just a little bit around that as well. So we'll give it just a few more minutes here. We've got still votes coming in. Everybody's like, oh yeah, I got to click on this. it takes a minute. I know some of you are multitasking, eating lunch, doing things while you're listening to the webinar. So, all right, let's see what we look at for this next question now while the results are coming in from that other one is what is your top requirement? So like if you're looking for a solution that's going to help solve some of those biggest challenges that we just talked about, what are some of the top requirements that you have? So is it price, ease of use, scalability? Is it the fact that it integrates with your firm's tech stack? So like Janine was saying, for them, one of the things was making sure it integrated with their billing system and things like that. So if you guys will just take a minute and put in those also. Feel free to click on one of those, or if there's something else, feel free to stick it in the Q&A as well. But yeah, if you'll stick that in there so we can kind of see what the results are there too. And then we're gonna go to our results slides here in just a second. So price, ease of use, scalability. It looks like there are some other folks that are giving us some input on some of the Q&A things too on what some of theirs are as well. All right, so let's see what our results are showing. So the biggest challenge it looks like from our audience today, looks like we are, yeah, we're pretty close on the things not being automated, not being streamlined. There's too many tools that people are working in. The high aging accounts receivable is also another one. So that one is also just kind of looking on that. And then on the time spent on payment reminders, looks like the third one. So yeah, I would say that kind of aligns with some of the things that we were talking about earlier. Any thoughts on any of those? Anybody? Okay. All right, so then the next one is, what is your top requirement? And so this isn't surprising. I think everybody's kind of looking for things that integrate and work together, right? You're building that ecosystem, which is why, at QuickFee, it's very important to us, and that's why we build out those different purpose-built integrations with different market leaders. And so that integrates with my firm's tech stack seems to be kind of the biggest requirement there that everybody's most interested in. So I don't think that's surprising at all to see that in today's day and age where we're trying to make everything work together and be more efficient overall. So now let's talk about, now that we've kind of looked at the before picture, let's talk about now once you guys started working with QuickFee and you had QuickFee Connect and you started really kind of automating some of those AR processes, how did that change some of the challenges that you had before? So Janine, I'll toss this to you first, but then Brandon and April, you guys kind of be thinking as well. So really curious about, has it helped you with the time it's taking to get invoices out, or the time spent chasing payments and sending out reminders, or getting the information reconciled back into your practice management system? So Janine, I'll start with you.
Actually, I would say it's probably like it is probably, I would say about what, 10%. It's come down probably a good 90%. We get our invoices out. It used to take us all a month. Now it's probably a 2-week process. Getting payments in now, it's really easy. Actually, we can press the button and the invoice goes out. The next day, it's a 24-hour. We get them out. They get the invoice. Then they get the payment. We usually sometimes get the payment the next day in our portal. And I mean, it's quick. The AR. I actually do the AR collections, and I see that it's probably a 65% change in our receivables as well. And I have been here for 25 years, and I have to say that I see a huge change in receivables and I've been doing the collections and invoicing for the 25 years, and I see a huge change in it since we've been using this.
That's awesome. Brandon, what about from your vantage point?
I mean, it's really nice to have, when we send out the invoices, just to have the payment link embedded in. And then when the client is able to click on that link, it preloads their information along with the invoice number and the client ID and everything from the invoice. So that's really nice from a client's perspective. It kind of personalizes that link specifically for them in that invoice. And then on the payment side, when we receive the payments in, just a couple clicks inside the QuickFee portal, and then back to the AR in practice, and it's instant. It loads, pays them. All I have to do is click post after that. So what could have taken on some days anywhere from a half hour to 45 minutes just manually inputting transactions that could have come in on a given day is now just to get, you could have 100 transactions instantly posted. So it's really been beneficial.
That's awesome. April, what about you? Anything from your vantage point that you would add to that?
Just like Brandon said, it's when he was on vacation, I hadn't learned about the import part of it yet. So I spent a lot of time writing down invoice numbers and totals, and a lot of times they pay a lot. So there's a huge list, and learning about the import option makes it seem very much easier.
Efficient.
Yes, efficient.
Yeah. Yep. Absolutely. And Kathleen will show us a little bit about kind of what that is, but basically that's where it automates the reconciliation back into your practice management solution. So it cuts down on a lot of that kind of manual data entry work where a lot of time is spent for firms that aren't using that. So we'll talk a little bit about that as we move forward too. So thank you guys. That was great feedback. So as we've talked with a lot of different firms, like we hear, a lot of these same challenges and things that they're really looking to try to solve around either not getting paid fast enough or too much time spent on invoice delivery, cash flow kind of being locked up in accounts receivable, writing off overdue receivables as bad debt, or not enough time to follow up with late paying clients, right? Because none of us have enough hours in the day, no matter where you are. And so one of the things that we would like to kind of get to now is kind of really looking at what that engagement to cash workflow looks like. And then how does QuickFee kind of help automate and streamline some of those? So we're going to have Kathleen join us. And so Kathleen is joining us today from Ireland. And so she was having a little bit of issues with her connection a little bit earlier. So we're going to mute ours part so she can kind of share some of the parts of taking us through the demo as we look at what QuickFee Connect does. So Kathleen, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Sherry. Yeah, so what I want to do is I'm actually going to show you the product and some of the great features that everyone just talked about. But first of all, let's just look at the workflow, and then we're going to go into the product. So it really starts off with your practice management system. As you know, we've integrated with several of the leading practice management systems, whether it's CCH Access, CCH ProSystem FX. Recently, we added Thomson Reuters Practice CS. We also have Iris, and we're working on Practice ERP. So we have several practice management systems that we integrate with. And those, we consider those the source of truth. We don't want you to change your process. We just want to automate it for you. So what you do right now, as far as creating your invoice, that will continue. We link up your practice management system with QuickFee. So we do AR, we do payments. And so we integrate your practice management system with QuickFee. We really take your clients, your contacts, your invoices, and your AR information. From there, we will send out the invoice for you, and I'm going to show you an example of that. So we're automating all of your invoice, your emails, and your reminders. It is a set it and forget it. And what I mean by that is during the setup, you decide which clients would get an email. If they want to get a reminder, well, we can set that up as well on a client by client basis. And then they will get the email. There's a special link on every email for that client and that invoice that they're paying. So they just click the link. It goes to your QuickFee payment portal where it's pre-populated. So it really removes the barriers for your clients to pay. Everything's pre-populated. You're not worried about where's my invoice? What's my invoice number? What's my client ID number? What's my name? All that's pre-populated. And we know it's good data because it's coming from your practice management system. We also have, once that gets populated, it goes in to QuickFee. where it'll be part of your settlement report. Now, the nice thing is, you're not having to spend all that time doing the data entry, because we're able to automate bringing those payments back in to your practice management system and allocating those payments against those invoices that were paid. So that's saving you a lot of time. Brandon, I didn't even ask you how much time you spent every day doing data entry. So I won't put you on the spot, but I'm going to assume, let's just assume you spend 30 minutes a day doing that. And if you do that after a year, just 30 minutes a day of doing data entry will add up to 5 weeks worth of time a year. So within a quick click of a button, you're able to save 5 weeks worth of time. That's a huge savings on billable time. So what I want to do now, Sherry, I'm going to share my screen, and I am going to actually go in and show you the product in action. I'm going to start off with the email. I'm assuming everyone here, whatever practice management system that you have, that you know how to create an invoice. So let me go ahead and share my entire screen. And we're going to start off with the email.
And we might just have a slight delay because we're not seeing your screen yet, Kathleen. I think it might be coming up.
Okay. Do you see it now? Let me stop sharing, and I will share again.
Great.
Sorry for the technical difficulties.
Now we are seeing your screen. Perfect.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So what I have on my screen is just an email. Okay. Now this email is from my test system. It is fully customizable by you when you do your integration. So we'll be able to, if you want to have a header, you want a footer, you can do that. You can go ahead and add the invoice. Obviously you want to send out the invoice, so you can attach the invoice. The email has variables, so it can go through the different variables. And also you have an email address. Now this email address right now says demo@quickfee.com. That's my demo system. During implementation, we will ask for a generic email address from your firm, from your domain, and that's what we will use to send out the emails. So it looks like it is coming from you. You're doing the invoice delivery, but it's actually coming from QuickFee. Now from here, you'll see a click here to pay. This is the link that's personalized for every single email, because in this email you have different invoice numbers, the amount, who it's going to. So you'll notice here that the URL, there's a lot of stuff in that URL, and it's a token. So once I click on this link, what it's going to do is it will bring me to the QuickFee payment portal. Oops, let me just go ahead and click that again. It'll go and bring me to the QuickFee payment portal, and you'll notice it's the new payment portal. Most of you will have the new payment portal, and you'll notice that everything is filled in. Now you may want to say, my name is not Bradley, it's Brad. So they can go ahead, your client can go ahead and still make changes to the payment. It is pre-populated, but they can still make changes to the information. It does not get written back to the practice management system. It stays with the payment, with that transaction. Then they can go ahead and select how they want to pay. Okay. So it's really easy for them to pay. It's removing all of the barriers for them to pay. So now what I want to do is, so we've gone in, we've sent out the invoice, your client has paid, and then what normally would happen is in the morning you would get your settlement report. Well, if you have Connect, you'll still get your settlement report with all those payments, but you will also get a new menu option called Connect in your firm portal. And there's a lot of functionality in here, and I just want to touch on a few of them. So the first one is its invoices. So here's where you're going to get all of your invoices. Because we do have that integration with your practice management system, we do sync up. So whatever invoices you have in your practice management system, you'll be able to see in the firm portal. You also have, you'll notice here, a PDF. So I could double click on this and it'll come up with the actual invoice. Okay. And then there's a bunch of information here about that particular invoice, as well as balance per PMS, which is very important. It's the AR balance. We keep track of the AR balance. The reason this is important because we know that you may get a payment outside of QuickFee. Let's say, for example, someone may come in with cash. I don't know how many people are doing cash right now, but let's say they pay with a check. They walk in with a check or with cash, and you lodge that, you deposit that, and you record that in your practice management system. That reduces your AR, and so we want to keep track of that as well. Okay, so this is where all your invoices are. We also have payments. This is where all your payments that were coming in through QuickFee. And now they could use the link in the email that we sent, or they could go to your website and hit the make payment. All of these payments are coming through QuickFee. You'll notice here I have a column for match status. So what we do is all those payments that are coming in, we make sure we match it with an invoice. Now, an invoice, if it's coming from the link in the email, we know it's going to match up because that information is coming from your practice management system. So it will match up 100% of the time. If you have a client that says, well, I'm just going to go and hit the make payment button in your website, we still match those up. If for whatever reason, our algorithm cannot match it, it will give you a not matched. Now, the nice thing is you can go ahead and then go to this payment matching page and find that invoice or that client that this payment belongs to. And it could be for multiple payments. So let's say they have $5,000, but it's for multiple invoices. So you can go ahead and allocate that. Now, depending on the practice management system that you have, this is where you would select all of your payments and hit the generate button. Hitting the generate button will import it back into your practice management system. Like I said, depending on your practice management system, you either use the import capabilities that is built into the practice management system, like CCH Access has an import capability, ProSystem FX has the import utility, Iris has an import capability. And then, Thomson CS is one that actually will write straight back to the table. So there's no import capability, but we write it straight back and it goes back in and allocates it to that invoice. So this is where you're able to save a lot of time. In addition, because we give you a settlement statement every day, usually you'll get it in the morning. Most of you will have an email from us that will say your settlement report. Well, the nice thing is you can go ahead and put in your settlement date in the filter, and it will bring up all of those payments on your settlement report. This helps with an audit trail. So now you have an audit trail between your settlement report, your bank deposit, and what was imported back into your practice management system. So it's a nice, easy way to keep an audit trail. Now, also after invoices and payments, we do have clients as well. We know that, some clients, they do not want to get, or they may not even have an email, or maybe they want to get a paper copy. So your clients can opt out. You can opt out your clients from getting an email. Now, obviously, it's nice if you have everyone getting an electronic copy. It makes it easier. You get paid faster. There's a better audit trail. But we understand that some clients don't have email. In addition, you're able to, determine at the client level whether they get like the initial email, as well as if they want to get reminders. Well, this was a recent enhancement that we did. We heard from some of our firms and they said, you know what? Some of our clients, we don't want to send out reminder statement or reminder notifications. So they, maybe the partner or the billing manager, they're like, no, not for this client. So you can determine whether, excuse me, you can determine whether your clients get an initial notification as well as reminders. So it's another way of really customizing how you deliver yourself to your clients. Email template, this is fun. This is where you actually go and create your templates. If you remember in my email that I showed you earlier, it was a little extravagant. I had a lot of different font size. I had links. I had a header. I have a footer. This is where you can go ahead, and it's just a wizard that you can use to create your template. And now you can have as many templates as you want. As you can see in mine, I have 1,000 templates. I doubt you'll have 1,000 templates, but you can have as many templates as you want. We also have email notifications. So this is where you decide when to send out an email and a reminder. So, and it determines what templates you also use for that email. So for example, immediately after invoice post, that means as soon as you create your invoice and you have it finalized, it's going to use this template to send out to anyone that has an open invoice and the balance is greater than 0. We do not send out an email for zero bills. So for example, let's say you had a WIP bill and you had client on account or a progress, and you want to apply the progress, and so the balance becomes 0. So we won't send an email out for that, okay? We also have the different reminders, so you can send out reminders at different intervals, and this is where you can decide what template will be used at different reminders. Now, let's say you don't want to send out a reminder at 7 or 10 days or at 14 days. So by removing the template, that means nothing will go out on 7, 10, or 14 days. So we'll just send out an email on initially when the invoice is finalized, as well as on the 30 days, you'll get a 30-day reminder. So again, this is fully customizable by you, and this is part of the implementation process. Now, one thing that we are adding, and you'll see this, this is in our test right now, and you'll see this very, very shortly in the next week or so, is our email management. I'm very excited to show you email management. So we send out a lot of emails on your behalf, and you may find, like, what happens to those emails? Do my clients get them? Are they actually receiving them? So this is where you'll be able to, you'll have some filters here, and you can filter on, whether it's your clients' emails, whether it was for the initial notification type for the initial one or the reminder. You want to see, was everything delivered? Was it rejected? Whether it was bounced, or if you want to do it by date. There's a lot of different filtering here, but then what you can do is you'll be able to see if the email went out, who it went out to, the email, the subject, the sent, whether it was opened, whether it was delivered, bounced, or rejected. And if it was rejected, you'll know why. So in this case here, I have a hard bounce. We also have the invoice here, and shortly we'll be adding the ability to send out the reminder or the email again. So you'll be able to take another action to say, oh, you know what, let me go ahead and resend that out. I may have had the wrong email address, or I may have had, that email address no longer exists for that client. So you can go ahead and you'll be able to resend those emails out. So this is a very powerful functionality that you'll see in the next couple weeks. Okay. So what I want to do is, so that is Connect. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And Sherry, if you could go back to the slides, and we'll see, yep, the Smarter Engagement Cash Flow. So what I did is I went through this whole entire workflow. I went from the practice management system where you create your invoice, we link it up with QuickFee, so there's an integration here. The invoice is sent out, so you get automated emails and reminders that will automatically, you set it up, will automatically send them out for you. The client gets their email, it's pre-populated, it removes all of their barriers to make that payment. And then you get the settlement, and then you're able to import those payments back into your practice management system. Now, one thing I want to show here, because you'll notice the bottom part is what I just did. You'll notice here that we also have what's called NULA. And NULA is, many of you may or may not know this, we recently did another integration for engagement letters. So now we can go ahead and you can send out engagement letters if you have like a retainer. That will also go through QuickFee and go through the same process, and then that retainer will get posted back to NULA as well as back into your practice management system. So it's a really nice way of taking best in class and integrating your tech stack totally. So that is our Connect in about 20 minutes. That's the Connect functionality overview. So Sherry, I will send it back to you.
Thanks, Kathleen. And so just to kind of reiterate, because there was a couple of questions in the Q&A, and we will get to some of those too at the end, but just to reiterate, so the integrations that are the purpose-built integrations that QuickFee has today are with Wolters Kluwer CCH Access, Wolters Kluwer ProSystem FX, Practice Management, Iris Practice Engine, and Thomson Reuters Practice CS. And so those are the ones that we have those integrations with that work with QuickFee Connect. If you are on another platform or another practice management solution other than one of those, obviously there's still ways we can help modernize your payments and all of that through our payment portal. It just doesn't have some of the different automation pieces. So obviously you can still reach out. We can talk with you around, what are some of those other ways that we can work with you. But those purpose-built integrations that are already there and available are the ones that I just walked through. So that was great. Enjoyed seeing all of that in action. So thanks, Kathleen. And so as we kind of get to the kind of second half of our webinar today, just wanted to come back to our guests that are from Pease Bell today and just ask a few questions around really how is working with QuickFee and automating your AR and payment processes impacted kind of your work, what your workday looks like, right? So we talked about like kind of how things look at the firm level, but like with your own individual workday or your personal work-life balance, how has kind of doing some of these things to like automate and streamline a lot of those processes really impacted kind of what your own personal workday looks like? So Janine, I'll start with you, and then Brandon, I'll come to you. Because I know you're one of the ones who's in QuickFee Connect a lot day to day. And then April, if you have anything to add as well. So Janine.
Oh, well, I have to say before QuickFee, it would take us a month to do our invoicing and everything else like that. Now it's 2 weeks. So now it's less overtime. And then, so it's a 40-hour week. It's now I have time to go on like vacations. I can schedule things. I don't, it's an 8-hour day. I can go and less stressed and just enjoy life now. So it's actually
I'm
really
glad
nice.
you get to go on. I'm glad you get to go on vacation now. That's awesome. Brandon, what about you? How does your kind of day-to-day work day look different than kind of maybe even somewhere you had worked before that didn't have this? Because I know you've been with Pease Bell for a little over a year, but if there's even other places that you might have worked that didn't have this kind of integration and automation, maybe share a little bit about that from your perspective.
It's just been nice to be able to come in and automate as much of the process as you can, especially when you're doing data entry for payments and cash received and that. So it's allowed me to focus more on other projects that need to be done in a timely manner because a partner needs something, or I'm able to assist Janine in different aspects instead of spending so much time trying to log payments and getting those that information to the partners so that they can manage their own client balances as well. So it's been very, very beneficial to be able to knock everything out first thing in the morning and then spend the rest of my day doing what needs to be done.
Also, I would like to add too, is, we used to get checks and we used to get like 50, 60 checks a day, and, putting those in manually would take a lot. And then you would have to run them through the machine. And then if the machine didn't pick it up and you didn't, you weren't balancing out either, that would take almost all day as well, because you'd have to try to balance that out too. So, I mean, it's just a quicker process too. So you're not just spending all day doing checks and all day. So that's actually nice too.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think, more and more firms are moving to this kind of digital paperless kind of payment process and moving away from, taking physical checks. And so it's funny, I can't even remember the last time I wrote a physical check. Yeah. I think for people who may have kids in school, maybe every now and then there's something you have to write a check for. But I think I was trying to remember. I think that's the last time I actually wrote one. But April, what about you? Anything kind of from your workday, kind of what your workday looks like? Or how it's impacted your work-life balance?
Too much, because Brandon usually handles all the QuickFee for now, but maybe when he goes on vacation again, I'll get to enjoy it. And I still do the checks. We don't, like she said, we don't get as many as we used to, maybe a couple days a week, but Brandon is the QuickFee guy here for now.
Well, the next time that he goes on vacation, now that you know about that import feature, you won't have to do nearly the amount of all of the manual kind of stuff that you were doing this time, right? So you might even.
Right, I'm excited to try
it. Awesome. All right, sounds good. And then, so Kathleen, I'm going to direct this question to you. So I know one of the questions that we get a lot of times when we're talking with firms around kind of implementing QuickFee Connect is how long does that implementation process typically take? And are there some things that a firm can start now to kind of help prepare that process? So I'll put up kind of this next piece around kind of our implementation process, and kind of you can walk folks through that a little bit, but maybe giving them just kind of some indication of how long that might take.
Yeah, absolutely. So the implementation is broken down into 3 or 4 sessions, and they're about 30 minutes long. The first one is the kickoff call, and the kickoff call is just like bringing the team together to give them a little bit of homework on, what to expect, some of the expectations, get the information ready. And then we go through configuration. We do a lot on our side to configure that. To configure you or the firm, and that's when we hook up everything depending on if it has APIs or if it's on-prem. We have other technology that we use there. We ingest all your invoices, and so the implementation team works on all that. We then go through testing with you. We'll do 1 or 2 invoice tests just to go make sure everything is set up properly, and we do like a test invoice and a test payment, and then we do training, and we'll give you as much training as you need. So like depending on how many people you have doing the billing and AR, we'll go ahead and train them on the different aspects. And then once you are ready, we'll go ahead and turn on everything. So you have the ability to determine how long this will take. We know that it's going to, be about 4 sessions, 30 minutes each. So if you want to get it done as quickly as possible, then that can happen as well. Or, if you want to do it over like a month or 6 weeks, you can do that as well. But, we could do it as quickly as 2 weeks, or, we could take 6 weeks if you want. It is all in the hands of the firm to determine how long they want to take to implement. our team is ready, and we're ready to help you.
Awesome. And so there's a few questions that I'm going to get to in the Q&A in just a minute, but one thing just want to know from our audience today that are attending the webinar, what practice management solution does your firm use today? So as we talked about, these are the different ones that you'll see on your screen right now that we have those purpose-built integrations with. And so Iris Practice Engine, Wolters Kluwer CCH Access Practice, Wolters Kluwer CCH Pro System Effects Practice Management, and Thomson Reuters Practice CS. So, and then if there's another one, just put other, but would just like to kind of get an indication from the audience on which one of those you guys are using. So if you guys will take a minute and go ahead and respond to that particular poll that's up. And while that's up, I'm going to ask just a couple of questions that have been coming in on the Q&A while we give everybody a chance to reply on the poll that's out there. So there was a question around, so Kathleen, this one I'm going to direct to you. If we link multiple accounts that are invoices to one client number, is it possible for multiple individual invoices linking to one email to the client, or will the client receive multiple emails with one invoice per email?
Right now, they will get one email per invoice. However, let's say they click a one link and they say they can still modify the payment amount. So let's say they want to pay multiple invoices, they can go ahead and pay it on that one link. And then when it comes through the matching, you can go ahead and say it was for, multiple invoices. Now, we are going to, one of the things that you will see in the next few months is with the new payment portal. Most of you, like I said, have the new payment portal. One of the things that you will see, or your clients will see, is once they click on the link, they will see all of their open invoices, and then they can decide on, if they want to pay that one invoice or if they want to pay all of their open invoices.
Okay, and then one other question, and then we'll go to our results from our poll. For the TR Practice CS, is the invoice sent out from direct integration in Practice CS, or do we send it to Outlook and that's where QuickFee picks it up to send it out?
Was that with Thomson
Reuters Practice CS? That was a particular question from that one. Yep.
Yeah. So different practice managements do it differently. With Thomson Practice CS, what you'll do is you will save your invoice to a whatever folder on whatever folder that you decide on, whether it's SharePoint or whatever. And then what we do is at different interval times, or let's say it's every hour or every day or every 4 hours, we'll go and grab all of the invoices that have been prepared. And so that's how we grab your invoices. So you just save it out to a folder on your server.
Okay.
And during implementation, we'll get the location.
Great. And then looks like, sorry, I just now pushed the poll question, I think, live. So we'll give everybody a chance now to jump in there and tell which one of those that they're using. So one other question that came in is, what are the top features in QuickFee Connect that can help with minimizing invoice errors and delays?
What are some of the features that minimize?
Like, so how do we,
what we have is,
how do we think QuickFee Connect help minimize some of those invoice errors and delays?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I mentioned that, the practice management system is your source of truth. And so the information in your practice management system is, that's correct, right? You have the correct invoice number, you have the correct invoice amount, you have your clients, you have your emails. So we grab that information and we pull it through the workflow. By pulling the information through the workflow, we know that the integrity of that data is intact. Once your client gets it, because we pre-populated all that information, we know that that's correct as well. So it's following, all that information is following the workflow. And then when it comes back in, when you get your payment, and you import it back into your practice management system, again, it's the integrity of the data is there because it's being pulled through all the way through the workflow. Now, in addition to that, let's say that there is some data that you're like, oh, you know, how do we, you know, what, maybe it's the wrong invoice or something like that. We have that matching routine that I showed you, and that matching routine allows you to gives you a chance before you import that information in to make sure that it's matched correctly. The payment is matched correctly to whatever invoice and client. I hope I answered that question correctly. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I think you definitely did. Thank you so much. And so as we get ready to wrap up here, there are a few more questions. I'll get back to those in just a second, but I do want to come back to our guest and ask them one other question around as different firms are getting ready. If you were talking with a firm that was getting ready to kind of embark on this journey and start really looking for ways to modernize and automate their kind of AR and payment processes, and they were starting down that path, is there any learnings or any kind of tips that you would give them as you think back, kind of hindsight, or as you're continuing to learn, that you would give them, to tell them some things that they might want to consider or things that you kind of learned along the way? So I think it's always good to kind of share some of that information as well. So Janine, I'll start with you because you've been there kind of through the whole iteration.
Yes, the biggest thing I think is making sure that all your data is correct. Basically all the emails, because when they go, the emails is the biggest thing, because if you have the wrong email, your invoice is not gonna get to where it needs to go. So I do really like that feature that you guys you're talking about right now, that with the email, when you're going to go on and you can see if they got the email or not. And if they opened it. We were really waiting for that feature to come, because that is one big feature that we have been really waiting for. So I'm excited about that. But that is one of the biggest things, is make sure that every single client has the correct email. And then the team is ready to go. I have to say that it's very easy. The implementation, everything was very easy. The only problem we had was our emails. We weren't really ready for our emails. So that was our biggest issue when we were going to use you guys. So I think that was our biggest problem. Don't you guys? Was the email?
Yeah.
But
I would agree that, making sure your data implementation is correct.
Addresses, stuff like that.
But the other thing is too, that's really nice, is the team, the QuickFee team. You reach out via email them real quickly, and they'll have a meeting within half hour, whatever is convenient. They'll contact you almost immediately to walk you through anything that needs to be changed or they can help. I mean, the team was really great with us.
Yes. Yep. Anything. They were. I mean, we didn't have a problem with anything, especially like getting everything set up on our end. They set us up on every single day. They had us on. They made sure we were all on the same call. They made sure that we were all set up. If something went wrong, they made sure we were all on that we were all had the same dates, times, everything. It didn't matter. If one of us couldn't be there, they made sure they would reschedule with us to make sure we were all on the same page at the same time. Nobody was, off. I mean, it was just a great experience. So just make sure the data is the right data. That's all. That's the only thing we had a problem with, and it was our fault.
I was going to say data integrity and data cleanup, I think, is an ongoing thing for all size businesses across the board. And it's only as good as the input, right, that goes in there is what you can rely on coming out of it. So thanks for sharing that. So I've got one other question here. And then anything else that you guys would add, but I don't want to jump off of this, if there's anything else that you would want to share with anybody who is saying, hey, anything else we should think about? So I think data, making sure your data is good and you've got the right email addresses and things like that. And I think that's exciting. The email management tool that Kathleen was sharing that's coming out will definitely help with that. But anything else?
No, everything else is wonderful. I do want to point out too is we do have like in our emails, as soon as a client pays as well, we do get emails. So if you're like waiting for a payment and that client says, oh, you know, we're going to pay online right now, and they pay it, you get the email right there and then too as that they pay. So I mean, everything is quick when it's QuickFee. So you do know everything. It's in the name. It's quick. So we do get that information too. So if you're waiting for a payment, and you know, you'll get that alert as well too.
Excellent. So I've got just a couple other questions here. So one was around somebody was saying, I've looked at other solutions in the market, and these types of solutions can get pricey. Our firm was quoted over $100,000 for this type of functionality. What does Connect cost? And so I can actually take that one. So there is a one-time implementation fee that's $19.95, and then it's just $4.99 a month. And so it's actually very affordable, very scalable for most organizations. And so, yeah, so that's that. Then somebody else was asking, let's see, on the, if somebody replies to an email, I think was just one other question that came in, is if somebody replies to an email, if a client replies to an email, is there anything in particular for people to know about on that? And I think, Kathleen, that one probably came in earlier when you were doing your demo.
So what was the question, Sherry?
Just what happens, like if a client, so when the emails go out, like if somebody replies to that email, what happens? Like where does that go?
So you have the email. So what we do is you give us one of your emails from your domain. We authenticate that. So it's still your email. A lot of times what firms will do is they'll give us a generic email, and then the billing department or AR department will have access to that email inbox. So they'll be able to monitor that email inbox as well.
Perfect. Okay. And Pease Bell team, anything to add to that?
She's right. We do have a, we all have a email box, and all our invoices go to that. And then if somebody replies to it, we monitor it and we will answer it. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Okay. And there was another question around, did you roll out to all clients at once, or did you roll out to give clients an opt-in option? And I think Pease Bell team, you guys did roll it out to all your clients at once, right? Because you were trying to kind of transform really your whole process. Yep. Okay. Perfect.
We did roll out all at once, but we also we do have a newsletter that goes out. So on our monthly newsletter to all our clients, we did let them know, and let them know in the newsletter that we will be implementing a new system, billing system. And then we also did a mass mailing email to everybody to let them know that we would be doing that. So in the meantime, I think we gave them like a 6 month, like what we were going to be doing. Not 6 months, I'm sorry, 6 weeks. So we were doing, we were letting our clients know on like a monthly basis, weekly basis what we were doing. And also we were doing it in emails, invoices. We were putting on top of our old invoices. We were doing lots of stuff. It did take us a little longer just because we were having some difficulty because we were doing it in the middle of the summertime as well. So we were kind of figuring out when we wanted to do it because of busy season. So we were going to do it in April, then we decided to do it in May, then we decided to do it in June. So we kind of kept putting it back. So then we decided to do it July 31st. So we gave our clients a little bit more time. So we did roll it out a little longer, and we let the clients know what was going on through mass emails as well.
Awesome.
So,
okay, great.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I think we are almost out of time. And so I did want to just give a couple of couple closing thoughts here, and then we'll put up some information that if you have any additional questions that you can reach out to us. Also, for some of the questions that were in our Q&A, we didn't get to all of them because we had a very engaged audience today with lots of questions. We will follow up with you offline on those as well. So don't worry, we will circle back with you on those. But just wanted to share a little bit about, firms really work with QuickFee for kind of really 4 reasons that we kind of see across the board. They're looking to reduce their AR and turn that AR into cash. They want to grow their business, and they're really looking for ways to help find more of that, kind of increase that cash flow. They want to automate different processes, obviously, and become more efficient and modern in the kind of client and employee experience when it's related to kind of your AR processes and payment processes. And they want to save on fees, so by reducing or eliminating those merchant fees. So those are really the kind of main 4 reasons why we work with folks. And then as we look across our kind of product and payments portfolio, and this was a little bit about what Kathleen was showing you earlier, was QuickFee Connect is that automation piece. But our pay over time is really our finance option, where then you can offer payment options basically to your clients, so they can pay over 3, 6, 9, 12-month payments. And so I know a lot of firms have seen a lot of positive reaction to that by being able to offer those payment options. And then also we have the Pay Now, which obviously is through your traditional ACH card, etc. So thank you all for your time today. It flew by. I can't believe that it's already time to end. But again, we appreciate all of you for joining us that are on the webinar. And to Janine and Brandon and April, thank you so much for joining us, for your time today. Kathleen, thanks for joining from Ireland and giving us a demo of QuickFee Connect. And everybody have a great Wednesday.